In 1M1, it states analyze the risk factors like the problems, issues, and possible mitigations for the research project. Now, what it means, we're going to tell the problems as well and solutions too. That is what the mitigation actually stands for. And in the whole process of research project. Again, the points are from your, I think not for this, we don't have any point for the indicative content. I took the guide from the suggested evidence for 1M1 and 1D1 for LO1. Analyze means break the
So,
subject or
ma'am, this one there's no
yeah,
indicative content.
there is no, and honestly, you don't
I
need
mean,
as
no,
well.
okay.
I'll break it how. Because in the suggested evidence of your assignment brief, they have given enough data for us to deal with it. So that is how I made the lecture as well. So don't worry. The command word means break the subject or complex situations into separate parts and examine each part in detail. In this assessment criteria from the merit part, it says we have to work with the possible problems and the solutions. So these are the things which are going to be highlighted. Then identify the main issues and show how the main ideas are related to practice and why they're important, problems and solutions with that the significance. And if you really want to relate work with different researchers or co-researchers, you can go ahead with that as well. Okay. Availability and responsiveness of research subjects. What it means, what's the problem in it? Difficulty in scheduling interviews or receiving responses from the CSR professionals because the topic is this, that is why, or the company representative. Why it is a problem here? Because not everyone is free for us and they can literally answer questions for us as well. We need to take out the time and then things get sorted out. Now, what's the impact? Delay in primary data collection, that is the first-hand data, the raw data, and that's in the form of interviews. A lack of sufficient qualitative insights. Definitely, when you're not going to be attentive, you don't feel pretty good to even answer a question in an interview. What do you think? What will be the impact on the quality? It will trigger mitigation, solutions for it. Identify and contact multiple potential respondents early. That is beforehand you're going to conduct it. You can make a group of 5, group of 10, and then go ahead. Use a mix of data collection methods, that is both the numbers and quality. Interviews, surveys, LinkedIn messages, emails. That is you're going for the online respondents as well and the physical one too. Offer flexible scheduling and keep questions concise and relevant. That is because this is our work. We need to be consigned with others. It's not up to us that whenever we feel like we're going to go ahead with the interview. No, we need to see their availability because they are the one who's asked, who her is asked, answering the question. Then it must be concise, short, not the big ones. Send reminders and follow-ups professionally. That is again and again, it's compulsory. You can say that we need to remind the other respondent that we have to be in a meeting, in a group for the interview for the XYZ research. Number 2 comes timeline slippage. It means delays in completing the task, such as if you remember, we did a task, not the task, the chart kind of thing in which there was literature review, time lapse in 6 weeks. We're going to do this, 4 weeks, this and that. That is what the slippage is. Literature review, data analysis, or drafting due to the underestimating time required or the unforeseen circumstances. Nobody knew that we were going to hit up with the pandemic in 2019. And the people who were literally stuck in the university with their projects, thesis, and work, it all shifted to online and it was literally worse. Because when you're conducting thesis and everything, and it needs to be published on the national accounts and even on the international level, then it needs a supervision one-on-one person. Impact, missed deadlines, compromised quality. Like when you people are jumbled up with the assignments, everything gets literally drafting. You're trying your best, but somehow it ends up in a mistake. And what it in the end, what happens? You are compromising the quality. You do have a potential, but just because of that time limit, you were not able to bond up, things get worse. Mitigation. Develop a detailed Gantt chart with the buffer times. We did this in last lecture as well. I provided a document too. A very simple, everybody can make it. Break tasks into smaller subtasks with clear milestones. That is when and how and where to do the work. If it's on a software or it's going to be on just a paper. Conduct regular progress reviews to adjust schedules as needed. Follow-ups, basically. Data reliability and assess issues. Limited access to credible CSR related documents. Why it is difficult to, download different papers for the corporate social responsibility, even for the big firms, because it's not easy to publish everything for the public. It's difficult. Only few of the companies who are listed at the stock exchange, they are also providing you with the corporate social responsibility report that what they're actually doing. Statistics, numbers, or internal reports from the companies, what's actually inside going on, campaigns, awareness programs. Impact, poor data quality, limiting the validity of the conclusions. Why poor data quality? Again, because we're not opening up all the documents or it's accessible. Then you're not going to have 100% sure that the quality of data which you're getting is going to be authentic or not. With that, definitely we're not having enough data. That is why there is a validity of conclusion. There is a confined answers to everything. Mitigation steps which we can overpower to it, rely on blend of primary and secondary sources. If you remember, I told you even in 1D1 we will go for methods, which we did that we can go for research methodologies, mixed, qualitative, quantitative, secondary, primary, and so on. So I opted for mixed. Even in the 1M1, 1D1, we will be going for the mixed method. Why? Because it helps us to go for a theory as well and for the numbers too. Then assess academic journals, CSR reports, and government websites. It's not necessary we're going to only target a company. Why to only depend on it? We have different various sources through which we can download what actually people, authorities are doing for CSR initiate. Clearly define the data scope and validity criteria, that is authenticity, that whether it is correct or not. Reliable sources. Ethical and confidentiality concerns, that is, the name must not be at the top list. Breach of confidentiality while handling the sensitive company data or interview responses. First, covering up with the sensitive company data, not everything is published publicly. Few things need to be hid, like from the locals, from the public. Only the internal people, the employees, or the people with the high authority power, they only knew it. And second is interview responses. That is, if I am an interviewee, I'm taking your interview for my project, I'm not going to take your names at all because it's your response, it is your opinion. Impact, ethical violation, definitely. Potential legal issues, we can even sue you up or loss of trust. You won't go back again. Mitigation, use consent forms and anonymize respondent identities. With the consent forms, that is, they're taking your consent, your, what do we call that in another word? Authority, that you people are responsible for your own self, and we're not going to take your name, but you take like giving up the response on your own self, on your own behalf. We're not forcing you up. And with that, anonymized respondent identities, we're not going to take up your names. Store like XYZ ABC. Store data securely, for example, password protected files, that's readily available now. Follow research ethics and data protection laws like GDPR, General Data Protection Right. Why? Because again, the topic is like this, CSR, so everything must be protected by law and order. Lack of research skills or resources. This is a big abundance actually, because not every company is going to publicly fund you up, nor it's easy as well. Inadequate skills in data analysis or limited access to analytical tools like SPSS or advanced Excel. Yes, because not everyone is skilled enough. People do know about Excel only a little bit, but the advancement which is used in the research purposes, it's quite difficult. It goes for the SPSS as well. Inaccurate analysis or poor presentation of findings. Again, when you're not have enough grip on the tools and techniques, then definitely you're not going to be sure about the result as well. And with that poor presentation of findings, like when a group member is missing in a presentation of 4 people or 6 people, it gets really difficult for the other respondent to give the presentation. Why? Because he or she is not prepared for her or his work. That's why. Education, attend training workshops on research tools is important, even for a layman or a person who is literally a field of a doctor or any other thing. They need to know about these tools and techniques, these softwares. These are really important. Use free or institution provided tools and resources. Like in many institutes, universities, Turnitin is free. Collaborate with the mentors or academic supervisors for support. Obviously, they're going to guide you further up, whether you're in a right direction or not. Number 6, illness or personal emergencies. Researcher failing ill or experiencing a personal crisis. Like, it's not in your hand to be happy all the time, to be perfect all the time. We can face anything at any stance of our life. Halted progress, missed deadlines. That's true, but the organizations, they don't understand these things. Even if you give up the proper applications to them, they always trigger you up with these things that it's mandatory to go for the presentation, go for the project, because that is how things work. Mitigation have a realistic timeline with the contingency plans. Why? Because this is the thing which I even tell my students too, that it's all right. We have low and ups in everyone's life, but again, you need to cope up with the assignment work or the things which you have already enrolled in. Why? Because in the end, it causes a problem for your own self. That is why we always have a backup plan. That's a contingency plan. Inform supervisors in case of long delays because at least they know how to handle at the end. Prioritize health and seek support from the peers. If you feel like you need help, social, mental, go ahead. Technological failure, loss of data due to computer crashes or internet failure because it's not in our hand as well. It can happen. Sometimes we have done the whole editing and in the end, the video gets deleted. Loss of documents, what's the impact? Communication breakdown. When you're not going to have internet connections, a good internet connections, you're going to have a lack communication. Mitigation, backup the data regularly on a Google Drive or Dropbox. Save work in multiple formats and locations. That is not in the Word document, not in Word, like one document always. We can go ahead with the plenty documents. Use reliable internet and keep devices updated with the software update, systems update, and with the good connections. Okay, example, suppose you plan to interview CSR managers at Al Marai and Nestle Middle East. Again, both are from Saudi. A delay in response could stall your timeline. To mitigate, you have already lined up potential interviewees. That is the people who are going to give you the interviews from related organizations and prepared a structured survey as a backup. So everything is pre-planned in the organization because it it doesn't matter whether it's a multinational or not, it's even a small or a medium one. But again, everything should be confined and planned. Similarly or simultaneously, you continue analyzing published corporate social responsibility reports from Almaray to maintain progress. It's not about 1 month, 6 months, 1 year. We need to track up the progress. We did in the first session 1M1, the merit part. Now we're going to jump with 1D1, the distinction one. Again, we do not have any points for this as well. We're going to take the guide from suggested evidence and the command verb itself. It states, justify the methodology chosen to address this research problem issue. Now, actually, the distinction part is related to the assessment criteria 1.2. If you people remember in 1.2, we did various kinds of methodology methods in which we can opt any one which we want, like it could be mixed, both qualitative, quantitative, separately qualitative, quantitative, primary, secondary, any method which you want. But for this topic, which is the CSR, mixed is the best. And that is how I will justify you people that why I chose this method. It means give a comprehensive explanation of the reasons for the actions or the decisions. That is whatsoever you're talking about, you need to justify it. Now, the research problem issue to evaluate the impact and implementation of the CSR practices in large corporations, particularly focusing on Al Marai in Saudi Arabia, because this is what I feel like it's a good example. We can take any one of it. The research methodology which I chose is the mix, and mixed stands for both the quality, theory, and the quantity, that's numerical. Using a mixed method approach will allow for a comprehensive understanding of both numerical data, that is how CSR is impacting key metrics, 80%, 30%, we're going to talk in the percentile, and even the charts and graph language, bar, pie, line, or histogram, and so on. And personal insights, your view, your opinion, perceptions of employees and managers about CSR practices, what do they feel like? Okay, Then comes use of primary and secondary data. The first thing is the primary. What it means collected through interviews with Almarai managers and employees involved in CSR, because obviously they are going to be posted up in this designation. Surveys distributed to employees, stakeholders, or the public to gather perceptions, that is the view, opinions of the Almarai CSR image and performance. It's mandatory we are going to involve the internal people as well to know proper result. Then comes the secondary data. It means company CSR report, which is going to be published at public account, financial statements comprising of income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, and website of Almarai, even the social media handles. Academic journals, case studies, and government reports relating to the CSR in the Middle East. We can relate it to the Saudi 2030 vision as well. Why? What's the reason? Justification. Combining both sources ensures reliability, authenticity, and validity. That's going to be perfectly fine with it, providing both first-hand accounts, that is a raw data, and contextual understanding from the established research, that is the work which is already published and done. We're going to take help or insight from it. Then comes the techniques. How we're going to do this? That's the surveys, the first thing. It states distributed via email or Google Forms to employees or consumers. We can go for the online version as well, or we can go into the office directly and distribute it. It's all up to us. Consists of close-ended questions to gather measurable data. We have 2 kinds of questions. One is open-ended and the other is close-ended. Open means you have an opinion. You can say whatever you want to, but it gets very lengthy. Close-ended means you can only choose an option. Interviews, semi-structured interviews with Almarai CSR department staff. That is all the people who are involved in it. We're going to have semi-structured. That's not going to be totally formal. It's going to be mixed match of it. Aim to explore personal experiences and opinions on CSR. And this is the reason why we're opting for the semi-structured interviews, because we can know the exact instinct that what the people are actually feeling or what they're doing to inculcate the CSR in their organization. Literature review. In this, what we can add analysis of the past corporate social responsibility, related studies to identify trends, benchmarks, and gaps. That is, if you remember in the starting lectures, lecture 1 and 2, I discussed and put an emphasis on the research gap, objectives, mission statement as well. That is, when we feel like there is a gap in your base paper, in your previous research, we can work on it further. That is what a gap is. And that is how we are going to work with the topic as well. Why? The justification for it. This combination offers depth, interviews, and breadth, surveys. Depth and depth and breadth is a concept in economics as well, and even in the thesis as well, in which we take 2 entities. It can be A or B, and here it is interview and surveys. We are taking it side by side of understanding, while the literature review ensures alignment with the existing frameworks. That is what it means with the existing frameworks. That is, you cannot break the rules or law. How to attempt a literature review, I have already taught you people, and we need to do that in that limit boundaries. But with the interviews and surveys, that is depth and breadth, we can go beyond. It can be with the employees only, it can be with the consumers only, it can be online only, mix and match. Ethical considerations. Now, this is very important when you're opting for the thesis. Ethics, culture, law. These 3 things are quite important. Informed consent will be taken before the interviews or surveys. That is a signature form. That your name is not going to be revealed, not your identity. Data will be anonymized and securely stored to protect confidentiality. Research will follow ethical guidelines, including GDPR, General Data Protection Right. It varies from country to country. And Saudi Arabia's data protection laws, definitely every country possesses, so it's going to be accordingly. No coercion or pressure on employees to participate. That is, it's all up to their will. That is why we're going to take the consent form. This is the whole actually behind it. That it's all up to you. If you want to participate, go ahead. Otherwise, it's absolutely all right. Why? The justification. Maintaining high ethical standards ensures the research is credible, respected, and non-biased. There is no favoritism ground. Everything is based on factual basis. Data analysis, it means qualitative data analysis and quantitative analysis, both numbers and theory. First, going with the qualitative. For the qualitative, we targeted interviews. Thematic analysis to identify the patterns, values, and perceptions. How we are going to do the thematic analysis? By taking the interviews, because we are not only taking the interviews from stakeholder like entrepreneurs, board of directors, frontline managers, MDs, employees, everyone is included in it. With that, we have to respect their values, their boundaries, who they are, what their designation is, and their views as well. It's not compulsory what you think about CSR, the other person is also going to think the same. It helps interpret emotional and ethical aspects of CSR. That is why we are able to extract ethical, what do we call it, research. And with that, the other word was consent. Quantitative data analysis surveys. Surveys are distributed. They can be online or physically, and it's all up to the person who is filling up a survey, how they want to attend it. Now use of Excel or Google Sheets to calculate the percentiles or the percentages, averages, and visualize data through graphs. Again, because we are going to opt for the quantitative here, for the data analysis, we can go for the charts as well. Pie chart is best, then comes the bar graph, then histogram and line graph. With that, we can go ahead with the Gantt chart as well. Why? Using both types of analysis gives a complete picture skew. It is very easy when we're going up with the both mixed method. You're taking help and aid from the theory as well, and from the numbers and from the visuals as well. From people's feelings and beliefs to concrete data-driven insights. And it gets easy to perceive with the data, what actually the correspondent wants to talk about. Then comes sources of information. That is where you can extract the information. That's the authenticity, reliability of the data, credibility too. Internal documents, definitely you're going to catch up on your Almaray sustainability and CSR reports if you are targeting this organization specifically, or any other title, any other organization. It's not necessary, but it's always appreciable. Then comes external literature, the things which you are going to add up in your report, in your thesis from the outsiders or the researchers, your co-researchers. Studies from the Saudi Vision 2030 framework, UN, United Nations Sustainable Developmental Goals, and corporate social responsibility practices in MENA. It's a city. Definitely we people know it. Academic databases, Google Scholar, the best one. I think I didn't talk about this one, right? We can extract good papers from Google Scholar as well. Just type Google on the Google, just type Google Scholar, and we're going to have authentic papers from there. Then come JSTOR and Science Direct. Now, these are the few website handles through which we always get authentic papers. Then comes conclusion, and a mixed method approach is most suitable for this research, for the corporate social responsibility now, because my topic was this, I have to opt for this. It's not necessary that you're also going to do the same thing. Your topic, your domain, your justification, how you have opted for it. It provides balanced insight into CSR practices, both numerically and contextually, theory and numbers, ensures ethical and practical validity through reliable data collection and analysis, because we are considering so many websites and ethics and grounds. That is why it is considered as an ethical and practical validity. Allows the researcher to compare the perceptions, compare the views, what you feel like with other things, because we are working on the gaps with actual performance, what's actually going on. That is why we're taking and extracting data from the internal sources too, giving a full picture of CSR's effectiveness at Almaray, because it is dignified to an organization. It's all up to you. Going with an organization, we can then only we have to extract the internal reports. Otherwise, if you're opting for the general topics, general titles, then don't go for the organization. It is going to be a general research then.